Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah! We got it! We got it!
New 52 book.
Somebody clip this for the woman.
Welcome under Two Capes. I'm Jared, and today we are doing a standard question and answer session where you guys ask me any questions you guys have as it relates to Marvel, DC, superheroes, whether or not DC movies are good, whether or not Marvel movies are good. Whatever questions you guys have been burning to ask me, ask away. And if you guys are feeling so inclined, you may become a member where you get to join my monthly member panels that we have them every, I think it's like first Thursday of the month. And we just hang out and do stuff. So, all right. So let's get those questions out here. So just drop below any burning questions you guys have. Let's see. So what questions do you guys have? You ever played Marvel's Contest of Champions? And Atchison, that's a good question. Yes, I have. I played it a few times. It's one of those things. It's a game that, I mean, I enjoy it to a degree. It's not necessarily my thing. At the very least, at least the story, the characters act consistently. That's the difference between Contest of Champions and like Injustice, where Injustice, they literally have to fabricate a story in order for it to make sense. If that answers your question. Do you play it? Do you enjoy it? Let me know. As for like other Marvel games I do have, what I have enjoyed playing is Marvel's Future Revolution, I think is the app game that they have in there. Actually, I'll pull up my phone so I can redraw up. Hey, what's up, Nemo? So the app that I do minus the grind I enjoy. Yeah, exactly. So I have Future Fight. I have DC Heroes and Villains, Marvel Snap, the card game, and Future Revolution. Those are currently the app games that I cycle through and enjoy very much. How about you guys? What other things do you? What other app games do you guys enjoy? Let me know what you guys enjoy and what type of superhero games that you guys like, because superhero gaming is one of those things where I really hope that we could get more of the types of game, more classic, like X-Men Origins Wolverine, maybe Spider-Man Deadpool and stuff. I think we could get a little bit more fun when it comes to superhero gaming. But that's just me. That's just me. In terms, okay, so Lego Marvel and Lego DC, yeah, those are great. I love those games. Those are 100% fun. I just play those games for fun occasionally, and I'll just free roam and like screw around. The fun part about that is how actually deep into DC and Marvel lore they go into with the characters. Like, you could play as the freaking Anti-Monitor in those games. Well, of course, the Arkham series. There you go. That's the obvious question right there. And exactly, except for like the last one. And Robert's here. Hey, what's up, Robert? How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. So what kind of stream is this? Have we started?
Yeah, it's just a Q&A stream.
Oh, sorry. I just know it's a live thing right now.
It's all good. I played DC Heroes and Villains, Street Fighter Duel, DC Dark Legion, and Dinosaurs. Dark Legion came out?
Wait, what?
Yeah. Wait. I gotta check this out because I want to play that.
What is Dark Legion?
It's a new DC app game. DC
Oh, that
Dark.
game. Oh, yes, I remember seeing that with a very creepy Batman who laughs.
Yeah, it's essentially it's the villain's Batman who laughs. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to see when is it getting released, because if it's out now, I gotta download this thing. It's coming out. It's just this 2024. Oh, come on.
Typical,
Give me more specific days. Come on.
Typical.
Yeah, exactly. And Ashton says also Dokkan Battle. Okay, that's interesting. I did pre-order DC Heroes United because the concept of that game where the story changes depending on your choices in like the actual game, that actually sounds pretty cool.
Now, is this an adventure game or?
You mean you mean the one that I pre-ordered, the Heroes United?
Yeah.
I believe it is an adventure game.
I would assume so, because I cannot think of any other type of game that would put in that much effort aside from Mass Effect for altering the story around.
Yeah, there are a few of the story modes that I'm like, Dark Legion is out, but I'm pretty sure it's in beta. Oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah, because I've noticed that these days, nowadays, you cannot afford to have great killer gameplay and put in all that effort for various choices. That's why I think it's been reserved for adventure games these days, and you always see everyone streamlining the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's a really cool concept. Apparently, it's going to be the formation of that Earth's Justice League is the story.
So I'm like, an adventure game, though, that does mean very little direct action unless they do QTEs.
I think what it is that you play mini games to unlock the next chapter, and then like you're essentially based on the choices you make, you'll get a different cutscene or something like that.
Okay, so boy, that either sounds like they're going all out or it's done on the cheap, one or the other.
Either one is really realistic when you think about it. Nemo says X-Men Destiny and other X-Men gaming titles. Marvel should try with other titles again, not just Spider-Man. Yeah, because remember when X-Men Origins Wolverine, the game came out and it was way better than the movie?
Yep, still recognized as one of the better comic games.
Exactly, and there's a heavy rumor that it's that and like a bunch of the older Spider-Man games are coming to Game Pass, and if that happens, I will be one happy boy.
I would not be surprised. In fact, get this, there actually is talk of them and wanting to bring back some of the old Sierra adventure games, like a Laura Bow, that was an old Sierra adventure game, has had a fan project in the works, and then they actually went to a meeting with Microsoft, and it was supposed to be 30 minutes, became an hour, nothing confirmed, but they were hearing out they're trying to revitalize any of the stuff they got from Activision, and they felt that this fan project was on the right track.
That's excellent. I love that because then we get more. I get to play those games again because I've since traded them in since before I got really into comic book stuff, and I'm like, I want to play those games again.
Yep.
Atchison says, I hope they bring back. Yeah, exactly. There you go. They've been delisted on stream. So is Deadpool. You would think with Deadpool, the movie coming out, they would have redone that.
They did it for the first movie, and I guess when I got it,
Mm-hmm.
because the first time they did it, it was only out for a few months before it got delisted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I want that. Yeah, exactly. The console costs 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head, according to Atchison. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm like, because I want to play that game. I want to stream a few of these games. Like, I'm definitely gonna stream X-Men Origins when that comes out on Game Pass and just play the crap out of that. There you go. But so what other questions do you guys have for me or for Robert? And Teladia's here. What's up, Teladia? How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
So Teladia, let me ask you this: have you heard anything about those rumors that they're gonna put like X-Men Origins Wolverine and Deadpool on Game Pass?
Yeah, I've heard those rumors, but take it with a
It's up to Marvel, though.
it's like take it with a huge grain of salt because it's not confirmed.
With our luck, they'll end up giving it to Sony because Spider-Man, and then they'll all end
And
up being
Wolverine.
PlayStations
No,
and
no.
Wolverine.
I don't
Yeah, go
think
ahead.
I don't think so, because that would mean I don't believe so. I think that would mean that they have exclusivity to all versions of the games when they don't. They only have
Okay.
exclusive rights to their versions.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, Sony has the rights to Spider-Man in video games, and they currently have the rights to Wolverine in video games.
Oh, so they do have the absolute right. My mistake.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Brown Asurius says his favorite superhero video game is Batman Arkham Origins. Ooh, that is an uncommon opinion, but a welcome one.
I
at that.
really like Arkham Origins. Favorite of all time? No, but it's up there.
Yeah. Hang on. Atchison asks, "Are you excited for the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection?" Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty cool.
The Punisher game.
Yes. That's what we need. An actual, like, can you imagine a Call of Duty style game, but it's the Punisher?
We had one.
No, I mean a first-person shooter where you play as the Punisher.
You said didn't you say Grand Theft Auto though?
No, I said Call of Duty.
Oh, Call of Duty. Nah, I say keep it third person. That way you can actually have those moments like the original Punisher game had.
Okay, that makes sense. What do you want to say, Teladia?
Yeah, I agree with Atkinson. Arkham Origins is underrated, but it has the second best story in the Arkham series. And I should know this because I'm the comics lord of gaming, comics lord.
You're the gaming lord, not the comics lord. You're on my channel, bro.
Sorry, I keep getting confused. Sorry, the gaming.
Robert, not on my channel. You're not, bro.
Sorry, the gaming lord.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how I keep getting confused. My bad.
And now that Marvel has an Overwatch clone, how long do you think before DC follows suit?
Not long.
Definitely not long.
Not long, considering that now WB has announced that they're going to be licensing out IPs. So, there is that. I will be making a video on that, just FYI.
Brown Destroyer asks, should there be a new Injustice game or like remastered? No. You mean
not remastered?
They already remastered it already.
No, I think you mean should they remaster the first Injustice game?
Yeah, they already did. That's they did.
No, they didn't.
That. They did. They from PS3 to PS4.
2 sodas and 1 slushie.
No, I mean legit, like remaster it, like Halo 2 to MCC remaster, like new graphics and everything like that.
Oh, okay. Then,
I'm
yeah,
not talking about slightly upstairs. Yeah, go ahead.
Phone number? Sorry, one second.
The thing about like Injustice, the thing is, I just want a third game so we can wrap up that story and just be done with it. And like I said last night on the member stream, let the universe burn as far as I'm concerned, because that storyline has done so much damage to these characters in terms of like the way average people see them. That I would be very happy if DC burnt it. Like if there was a crisis in the comics and they wiped it from existence and never went back there again.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, like I said last night, I'm pretty sure Ed Boon has made it clear he just wants to wrap up the story.
Yeah, because ultimately it's gone on for way too long when you combine like the games and the comics. So I'm just like, just end it. A trilogy is a good thing to end on.
I'm positive that's the reason why they greenlit the Year Zero comic, because that was I think that was in greenlit when they were intending on doing Injustice 3 before they jumped to MK1. I'm positive.
Yeah. Injustice 2 already wrapped up the story. There are plenty of other ways they could do it. No. It depends on your ending, but there's plenty of other ways they could do that. Atchison asked, are you going to watch Joker 2? Yes.
Yes.
Even though it's a musical, I'm not traditionally into musicals, but I like the first Joker. Arguably, it didn't need a sequel, but I'm intrigued.
Agreed. I think I'm gonna look at this sequel as its own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just approach it as like a movie. I wonder if they'll actually have like him be like become the actual clown prince of crime at the end of the movie, or is it just going to be its own thing?
The director said he's never going to be the crown prince of crime.
Ah, dang it. That would be hilarious, but I see what they're going with there. Brown Destroyer says Flash time travels to stop the Joker, and Spectre helps him there. Oh, I don't know where that's from, but okay. But but you know what's kind of funny is I saw so much hate for that Injustice animated movie, but here's the funny part about it when I watched it. The characters actually act relatively consistent with their main universe, like compatriots, such as Wonder Woman eventually turning against Superman because she's like, okay, the kid, when you killed those kids, I thought it was just a temporary madness. But Batman and his crew just helped us, and you want to lock them up again.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, say what you want about that movie. At least the characters acted consistent. Barry Brown brings up a good.
I have to disagree with you there.
Oh, geez, here we go. Go ahead, Teladia.
Right.
The Injustice movie did not live up to the hype, and it did not be consistent to the video game or the comic.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing, though.
But
that's not
that's not what you were promoting it for, though. You were promoting it as an adaptation, not its own thing. And it's not even an adaptation because it doesn't even make it past year 1.
No, but the thing is, though, it's like what they crammed the story from year 1 to 5. They crammed it into one.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying there. I'm just going off of okay. You know what? The very I don't even care if they like sidestep Super Wonder. All I care about is like, is Wonder Woman arguably in the animated movie she's more respected than she was in the actual game. So you know what? I'll take it. At least she's not the devil on his shoulder constantly pushing him toward evil.
Hey, but in the video game she looked talked. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh yeah.
I will say
two
this.
more, but go ahead.
I will say this. I would love to see a drag-out 3-way multiversal match between Flashpoint Wonder Woman, Injustice Wonder Woman, and Dark Knight Returns Wonder Woman.
Oh,
like
that's
I said,
good.
between the three of them, Dark Knight Returns Wonder Woman is probably the best one of the three.
Yeah, I was about to say. Plus, Injustice Wonder Woman actually is not evil. And then Injustice Woman, Flashpoint Wonder Woman is actually not evil. That animated movie destroyed her.
And to be fair, Convergence also destroyed her.
That too. But when you watch the animated movie, it was kind of funny. So I recently got the Flashpoint Omnibus because I wanted to read like all the tie-ins and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll check this out. I'm reading through the Flashpoint. I'm reading through the Wonder Woman, the Amazons thing, and I'm like, so she didn't murder Mira. That's the first part. She was defending herself. She didn't kill Shazam. I'm going through the list of stuff, and I'm like, what?
That was still up in the air because of how the main mini wrote it and drew her.
No, it was a different Amazon. I looked at it. The pictures of a different Amazon.
Fair enough. I'm just not, but I'm saying no. It was similarities that you could throw it off, is what I meant.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, you really had to put that with her, but still. But
it's an adaptation, especially of that big of a story. You have to condense things, and unfortunately, shortcuts are made.
Just have like a like montage of a short montage with some voiceover that basically says this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. We're done. So Tevia asks, question: how do you guys feel about Ultimate Spider-Man bringing in Ultimate Black Cat and Ultimate Hulk? Find the Ultimates this November. That's pretty cool. I like the character design for Ultimate Black Cat. I think it has some potential there.
I miss the white hair. I'm sorry. For me, it's not Black Cat. She doesn't have the white hair.
True. I'll give you that. Jared, are you so far liking? I mean, Absolute Power, because the Absolute Universe hasn't started yet. But I know what you're saying, Brown. At this point, after this, can they take a nice break from using Amanda Waller for stuff?
Oh, I think that's the plan. I do think that's the plan. To be fair, this is the most we've seen of her since Dark Crisis leading up to this point, and that's clearly what they were building up to. I mean, if they were going to have her be the villain, you don't just have her come out of nowhere.
True.
I mean, I think you would complain about that too, wouldn't you, if they didn't set her up? And yes, we got a lot of her, but if she just came out of nowhere and this event just happened, I'm pretty sure people like you and me would be ticked off at that too.
Yeah, exactly. And Tevia, answered that question earlier. Josh Jones, sorry, I call him Martian Manhunter. There you go. Do you agree that DC animation was in a better direction before Apocalypse War in the Tomorrowverse?
Yes.
No. I would
Yes.
yes and no.
I'd
Okay.
say
I say yes and no as well. Robert, you can go first.
I say yes to when it initially started, but by the time they were wrapping things up, no, that's what they were trying to do. Very loose adaptations of stuff, and it just they were not doing that well, good quality wise. Most of the quality was in their non-continuity movies.
Yeah, with me, I think they were in a good place until they went to Death of Superman, because here's why. So then you're taking
Rebirth.
What?
Is it Rebirth?
Well, yeah, you're taking the new 52 versions of these characters and then putting them in post-crisis stories. It doesn't necessarily work as well as you think. At least with Rebirth, when they threw out the new 52, they brought in a different Superman.
And I will say this, even again, some of the explanations they had, how it makes me question their fandomness, like the whole Lois was important for the death, just that last page.
The death? No. Yeah, Robert, exactly. This is how I knew that they screwed up. When I told you that reasoning, and even you were like, no, she wasn't.
But I also wouldn't say Return was that important for her either. It was just the funeral. That was it.
Yeah, she played a key part in Reign for sure, but in the death trade,
only
no.
Only slightly more than death. Only slightly more. Now, to be fair, is her moment at the end of the death the most memorable of the entire trilogy? Yes.
Yeah, but I still think what they could have done is still had that. My whole thing is that it's like the way they shoehorned it in off screen, where like all of a sudden they just hand wave it off and with Wonder Woman saying our relationship was not really true or something like that. And I'm like, stop turning her into a mouthpiece. But then
maybe Tomasi used that to his advantage, but I'm pretty sure that sounds more like corporate trying to force it on him.
I think it's Tomasi. Based upon his writing of Superman and Wonder Woman, it's probably Tomasi. But anyway, the other part is the way he reveals his secret identity to Lois. Because I'm like, at the very least, in the Christopher Reeve movie, he does stuff to show he's Superman. In the movie, he literally does this. Wait. He literally does this. I'm Superman. So you're telling me you're this close to this woman and she's never seen you without your glasses on?
And not only that, at least with Superman Doomsday, it was less that she didn't know and more the fact it's like, I figured it out. It's so obvious. Why don't you just tell me?
Exactly. It's that this was done so much better. You know it's bad when Superman Doomsday does it better. That's where you know you screwed up. And that was my thing, Robert, is that they could have even done Superman Doomed, that storyline, and that would have worked for that version of the character. But exactly. I understand what that wasn't entirely in their control, because Sam said a lot of the times these executives will come to you and say, do this movie for your universe. Now, that doesn't excuse like the really BS-y dialogue, because you could have still done like a lot of the Death of Superman stuff, but if you were that hard-boiled on putting it in this universe, you could have just substituted Lois for Wonder Woman, and you would have had the same effect.
And I'll say this, and I will say this: the fact, is that say what you will about Tomasi, at least the deaths and what he did of the funeral was much more closer, faithful of an adaptation compared to when Craig took over writing Return, and it was just like, nope, where's the DCAU portion.
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, my voice is getting real raspy. I'm saying,
okay.
Tomasi, at least when he did it, it was a lot more faithful, to the point of him using that Bibbo speech that I love so much.
Okay.
But when it came to when Craig wrote Return, it's broad strokes.
Yeah, exactly. And again, let me put it this way: Death of Superman is at least where I put the dividing line. Because if you notice, look at the quality of movies we got after that. Hush, Judas Contract,
Return itself, what I would count.
Return Itself. A lot of those adaptations, I was like, what the hell are you guys doing?
By the way, I was actually at a panel because Jim Lee came to my comic convention around the time of the Hush movie. And he said, oh, I haven't seen it, but I don't know if it's going to be that faithful. Even he didn't have much hope.
And the writers, I was on another podcast, and the host told me that the writers actually addressed why they changed it. They said, because you already know what the story is then if we go 100% what the comic did. And I'm like, if you're not going to go 100%, then don't adapt Hush. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. But the point is that like general area of Death of Superman is where I think the DC AMU at least started to go downhill a little bit, because I started to notice more of the cracks. I mean, even look at the Wonder Woman movie, which had some good parts. But again, here's my problem with DC AU Wonder Woman. And Britt and I talked about this, I think, on the Friendship episode. The problem with that version of Wonder Woman, she started off great, but then she became a mouthpiece. It's like in Death of Superman. It was actually Rain, when she has lunch with Lois and goes, yeah, what Clark had and I had was special, but you're his true love. And according to that, it was James Tucker going, no, you should like Superman with Lois. This is the relationship you should like. And I'm like, maybe I would like to
say, even I have to say that.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Even I say that's bullshit. Even I say that's bullshit. I might agree with some of the sentiments, but the execution was horrible.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, at least show. If they had shown me the breakup, at least I would have been like, yeah, you don't have to make it a big part of the movie. You could even have it where he breaks up, where the death causes the breakup. They come back together. And maybe like she was comforted by Steve or something like that. There's so many different ways you could have done that and changed very little. That's my problem. It came across to me as a little lazy.
I would say this. They took enough time to do a little animated sequence with Nightwing and Robin once. Why couldn't they do that with this? Why couldn't they do at least, even if it's for a few minutes, do a post-credits that was set beforehand, and at least have them acknowledge it more so and give a little bit of an explanation.
Yeah, but again, the other issue, and this is where I do blame Tomasi, is the way the dialogue is written. He's like, no, you belong with Lois. You don't belong with Wonder Woman. And I'm like, in this universe, Superman does. I'm sorry, this one does.
I would say Craig's dialogue was worse, though, I would say.
Craig did Rain, right?
Yes.
Yes, that was way worse because Craig was saying, essentially had Wonder Woman say, no, he belongs with you, not me. You'll always be his true love. And I'm
who's the one who said the line in Death?
Death was Wonder Woman, because it's like they're training in the gym, and then she goes, here's their throwaway line. They go, Wonder Woman says, yeah, our relationship was nice, but you belong with Lois.
Oh, so that wasn't Death?
No, that was Death. The one in Rain is when Wonder Woman repeats that sentiment, except to Lois, because they have lunch, and Wonder Woman says, what Clark and I had was special, but you were always his one true love.
That's even worse. That is worse.
That is way worse. What do you want to say, Teladia?
This Lois talk is very boring.
I'm sorry, but I can't help it.
No, but Teladia, actually, it is applicable to this conversation, because that's when I started to notice a lot of this BS stuff. Arguably, there wasn't another really good DC. You could say you enjoyed a couple of them, but there wasn't one that I would say was like very good until Apocalypse War, because I really liked Apocalypse War.
I think Apocalypse War did it really well. But I think the death of Lois Lane was the best thing to ever happen in that movie.
No. The best thing that happened in that was when Superman got his powers back and beat the crap out of Darkseid. He's like gouging his eyes out and like smacking him around. And I'm like, I want this. And then the year after, we got the Snyder cut, and I'm like, thank you. Actually, it was 2 years later.
No. What I mean is Lois's death causes that moment. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, but and then we get the Tomorrowverse. Now the Tomorrowverse, if it had been able to like extend, I think it would be great because JSA World War II is supposed to be a Wonder Woman series.
Right.
The original title was Wonder Woman and the JSA, but they changed it to JSA because, as Sam said the last time he was on, WB does not have that much faith in Wonder Woman. That's probably why we haven't gotten an animated series announcement for Wonder Woman yet, and we probably won't for a while. But I will say this, compared to the last one, compared to the DCAMU, Tomorrowverse treated her with a lot more respect. Because, let me put it this way, in Crisis, they had a Superman with Lois and one with Wonder Woman, so they didn't have, it wasn't a competition. So it was like they could respect one and respect the other as well, which I'm fine with on that point.
But Jared, they called one Superboy with Lois.
I still can't believe that happened, and I have the screenshot, so it did happen on the DC social media. Britt sends it. I sent this to Britt because I'm like, wait a second, is this saying what I think it's saying?
And that's what got Jared to watch it, by the way.
And by the way, Tevia, it wasn't just it was supposed to be a series of movies that was so there was supposed to be more JSA movies that would have connected. That would have told what happened after JSA, like maybe how the League formed on that Earth. It would have been pretty much Wonder Woman movies, and then it would have been like how she gets with Superman and all that stuff. Now, that's one of the reasons why I look past the, in my mind, downgraded animation quality, because the story was at least a little more tolerable than I think the Tomorrowverse got it. I mean, than the DC AMU got at that point, at least in my opinion.
Right.
But and let me ask you guys this: what's your favorite Tomorrowverse movie? Mine is not Green Lantern. Mine is probably Crisis 3.
Mine has to be either Crisis 3 or Crisis Part 2.
Okay, that's a good one.
I would say.
Those are good ones. How about you, Robert?
Just a sec, guys. Just a sec.
Yeah, okay. And then Sister answering, well, I couldn't have gotten that for the Tomorrowverse because by the time they got to that point, WB had decided to move on. JSA World War II. Yep, that's a good one. I love JSA World War II.
So, Jared, I got a question for you guys.
Yeah, right? What's up?
So, with the announcement, I don't know if I can ask you this question. With the announcement with Warner Brothers doing separate things going forward, do you think this will help the DCU going forward?
Separate things. What do you mean by that?
So with his assets, like for example, the animation.
Oh, you mean the licensing out?
Yeah, video games.
I think so, because I think it will help because it's exposing the more talent to these characters, so we can get like more original stuff than just like Rocksteady or like W Games Montreal or anything like that. Your talent pool that can work on these projects just significantly expanded. Yeah, so Robert,
my favorite Tomorrowverse movie, have I had to truly pick?
Is it Superman?
No, actually, no.
Oh, what is it?
Legion of Superheroes.
Okay, that's a good one. I like that one.
Surprised you guys didn't mention that one.
That was a good one.
I forgot about that movie.
Well, it's good. It's not my favorite. I wanted so hard to like that Green Lantern movie. I'm just going to say that. I wanted so much, but they made too many stupid changes where I'm like...
hell needlessly just to promote John saying, and that was the one thing about Crisis I did not like, was basically saying, you're the best Lantern.
Or how about when they literally gave John the Kyle origin?
Exactly. And what is with Craig having characters say, you're the true person?
I don't know. That is an interesting good point. I'll bring this up to Britt, and maybe if I can get Craig on the show, I'll ask him about that, because he does tend to do that. That is really weird.
Yeah, he did that with Lois. He did that with John.
You know it's bad when the Lois fan is telling you, no, I don't like that. You know it's bad when the Lois fanboy of the three of us is like, no, I don't like that.
First of all, my fanboyishness comes just from the era I got started.
And that's fine.
And in that era, Wonder Woman was not as prominent due to editorial. She was not that close with Superman for the longest time,
Okay.
and Lois was more prominent.
And that's valid. My point is just being, you know, it's bad when the person that you would think would be like all on board is like, okay,
No,
while I
because
like
it's
Lois,
forcing.
that's not a good way to do it.
That's shoehorning. I hate shoehorning. Something should never be shoehorned like that. Never.
Yeah.
Even if it's in my favor, I hate it. I hate when fans, when shippers settle for shoehorning because they're still getting their result. I'm like, no, because then that taints it.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it not really there. I mean, Teladia, how cool would it be if for the Doomsday movie, if they wanted to do it, they did Doomed, or at least a truncated version of it, because that's like a lot that goes on in that storyline.
Yeah, they need to do Superman Doom
Because that way, that's literally built for the versions of the characters you have in this universe.
Yep. And now here's something I would ask you guys.
Okay.
Here's it. If in Crisis, hypothetically, let's say instead of having it be, oh, Lois died and he got together with Wonder Woman afterwards, they had instead said, oh yeah, I gave up on her and went with Wonder Woman right away. Would you?
No,
guys...
I would hate that.
Yeah.
No.
Because here's the thing about me, Robert, and this is something that
I know you would. I'm just saying, same thing is all I'm saying.
I'm just saying it for the purpose of the episode. Here's what you guys have to understand about me, about Britt, but Teladia, and about Robert. We're intellectually consistent. If we make an argument about something being shoehorned in one, to Robert's point, just because it favors Superman being with Wonder Woman, I would still be like, I kind of hate... the petty a-hole in me would at first be like, oh, yes. But then when I really thought about it, I would be like, no. Because ultimately, let me put it this way, a contrived plot is a contrived plot, whether or not it works in my favor or not.
Exactly. And that's what they did between the two ways of switching love interest. What they did was way more respectful in Crisis.
That's my point. And you know what's kind of funny? That I knew that as soon as I explained to you what happened, because Tevye asked me when we were on your show, Robert, about so what I think about Super Wonder. And when I explained the story about what he was with Lois, she died of old age, as she would, because this is a guy from World War II. And he just got with Wonder Woman there, because that's happened many times in the comics and a lot of Elseworld stories.
Yep. I mean, because trust me, doing it the other way would have been like, oh, this is Frank Miller's Superman then.
Was he ever with Lois in that?
No. That's my point. That's how fleeting it was with his love interest until Wonder Woman.
Okay. Well, in his defense, so in Superman Year One, he went from love interest to love interest to love interest really quick. So that's different. And Josh Gones says, "I'm not against Lois. I'm not against Wonder Woman, but Superman needing to be with Lois in every interpretation is moronic."
I look at that usually had been not so much that he had to; it was the writer's preference. That's how I always looked at it until Tucker forced him.
Well, the problem is, Robert, a lot of writers treat it as it is the only valid interpretation.
Here's the other thing. Remember, for the longest time, Wonder Woman being in any other media was contentious because of legal reasons for the longest time. So, even if they wanted to, they never could.
Well, and now they could, and Britt brought this to my attention, is that you had a lot of creatives like Tomasi calling it fanboy porn.
What?
That's what a lot of these creators say, and I'm like,
get why.
I'm like, even if you don't, let me put it this way, even if you don't like it, let me put it this way, I would argue a large portion of the fan base enjoys it or at least tolerates it. Yeah, go ahead.
I can get where Tomasi's coming from, but I wish he wouldn't be so blunt about it.
You can say I don't think it works, and that's fine. But
But
don't be an a-hole about it.
But I get why he has that viewpoint. I just wish he wouldn't be so blunt. The reason why is for the longest time you would have people following from Frank Miller being like, why would he want to be with someone normal? Why want to be with Wonder Woman? Because they just think power is all that matter. Unfortunately, you've had, not all, nowadays it's gotten better. But for the longest time, most people who paired Superman with Wonder Woman were in it just because of power, no other reason. No other reason than that, no characterization, they could care less. They're just like, they're the two strongest people in DC. They have to be banging.
Well, and you know what's kind of funny? A lot of those people that were against Superman and Wonder Woman being together because of the powers thing now, Robert, they instantly were exposed as hypocrites when DC announced that the Superwoman thing with Lois getting powers. Because then they're all like, "I can't wait to see the bang," and I'm like, "You just said you don't want this because of Wonder Woman."
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
I kid you not. The same people, the exact same people that were like. The fanboy porn people, they were bad. They were praising them giving powers to Lois.
Further all, this is not the first time.
Not the first time. Yes, exactly. It's not the first time they've done it.
Second of all, I would see that as for. I would say this. I'd like to see that for one scene as a joke, given how we already had the kink stuff in a prior story. So I would like to see it for one scene, but not constant.
Well, it's happening for constant, according to...
It's happening constant for a lot of these people. And you know what's kind of funny? I got into a Twitter debate with someone when that whole Philip Kennedy Johnson Warworld suit BS happened. And I said, do we really need this in a Superman book? And then someone says, yes, we have to know how they have sex. And I go, why?
Geez.
I go, why?
Even I disagree with that. Even I disagree with that. I don't
you know what? This is worse than Bruce Timm. Just saying.
It depends on what you're talking about when I talk about Bruce Timm. But here's the problem. Here's what I encountered in a lot of the Wonder Woman fandom. They only care about who is she sleeping with.
I hate to see that's where I think Tomasi was talking about, because for the longest time, like I said, for the majority of it all, you've had people view this because of that stupid scene in Mallrats or Frank Miller making statements like that.
Here's where it becomes really stupid coming from him. He literally wrote the 3 volumes of the frickin' book of them being together, and he could have referred back to the previous 2 volumes by Sewell, which established it's way more than that.
Again, we'd have to actually talk to the man and get his insight on that. Because again, who knows, okay? But you get what I'm saying, or why I can understand to a point. Now, again, not his tactfulness being blunt, or anything, but I can understand why he would have a resentment, because for the longest time, from my observation going up through a lot of the comics, most Super Wonder fans were insufferable, didn't care about the characters whatsoever.
I'm going to, okay, you know what? I'm going to deviate from that a little bit, because in the process of researching for the Super Wonder show, we did very extensive research into the history of this. The majority of it actually was more on the emotional, friendship level. You had some people obviously that were 100% for them just together because of banging, but from what Britt and I have seen, it was mostly the more emotional people. It was just the overly nostalgic people, not you, Robert, but people like Tomasi that said it's only this that painted it that way.
This is what I put in the private chat, by the way.
I know, Teladia. I know. That's partly why. But my point is, regardless of that, to your point, Robert, when he expresses it like that, it makes him look like an a-hole. That what? I'm not really down to listen to anything that you have to say. Even though, by the way, the fandom gave his book a lot of chances to work because we wanted the Superman and Wonder Woman book to be successful. It still relatively was for that type of book. Brown.
But here's I don't know if he was put on that book as he had no choice but to take it if he wanted to work. And if that's the case, that didn't help matters. Let's be honest.
But at least it was more successful than the Rebirth books and
hang on. Regardless of that, the thing about that is that even if he was the only one, it's extreme. At least in my mind, it is extremely unprofessional to go in there and
excuses. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to look at all sides of it. I am not making excuses.
This is why again there's direct evidence in his books that he didn't read the previous stuff. Like when he did a retcon of here's when Superman learned about Wonder Woman being the god of war, and he was so I can't believe you didn't tell me. We're literally the last issue of volume 1.
That's also editorial's fault, though. That's also editorial's fault.
But he should still read the book. If he's coming on in the middle of a book, he should still read it.
I'm just saying both. He should have, and editorial should have caught it, is what I'm saying.
And to be clear, I am not a Tomasi hater, because I have Green Lantern stuff right there, and I love the
reason why people love
stuff.
Damian, not Morrison.
Yeah, he's the reason why. Because like this way, it's kind of funny. I used to wonder why did people hate Damien? I read the Grant Morrison run and I was like, now I see. Now I see.
But then you're like, why do people love him? It's because of Tomasi and Brian Q. Miller, which when he would write him in Batgirl.
Yeah, exactly. But my point is, when I critique Tomasi, it's not because I don't like any of his writing. I know the dude is let me put it this way: the mistakes I saw in Superman and Wonder Woman are stuff that I know I know he's above making those mistakes, which starts to make me think that it could have been intentional.
I'll just say this: when you look at between him and Jeff Johns, both mishandled Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah. Oh,
but I think Johns is ignorance. It's ignorance. Tomasi, again, he's written good Wonder Woman and other stuff. He has.
Yeah, he has. That's the other point. And you know what? He wrote some pretty good scenes in that Superman and Wonder Woman book. I'm not going to say he was all horrible. But I'm just going to say it's just the rest of the stuff. Because he said there's no drama, there's no story. You had 2 volumes of drama, like when Wonder Woman almost cut his freaking head off.
But wasn't he also stuck with, by the time he came on, was he also stuck with that true stuff anyway?
No, regardless of that, you could have still done that story in a way where, like, first off, he artificially threw in antagonism between Superman and Wonder Woman where you didn't need that. That's my thing. You could have still like played with because yes, that happens literally all the time. Where like a writer come onto a book and they're like, okay, you also have to factor in this really BS continuity. But I think he could have handled it a lot better and not made them suddenly very antagonistic toward each other.
Oh, I understand. Hey, if I ever could get him on my show, I would be politely, of course, ask him about that stuff. I would say like, I would just casually bring up about, so how was your run on Superman and Wonder Woman? And I would just let him, if he wants to talk about it, go from there. If he doesn't, I drop it.
And if I were interviewing him, the way I would phrase it is that I like a lot of it. Some of the dialogue can be interpreted as maybe being a little antagonistic between the two. Was that more editorial?
Or not? I know.
Yeah, again, because obviously if I got him on the show, I'm not going to blast the guy. Because
again, I don't get why there's some people out there who feel like you should put a person on blast and do a gotcha. I don't get some of those people who think that.
Yeah, I know, because because it's a miracle if you, first off, it's a miracle if you can get these people on the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. No, I'll just say it's like when I had Mark Waid on. I still remember having JDA talking about me saying like, oh, he just softballed him. It's like, I'm being polite to the guy. And if ironic enough, JDA would have another pro on at some point, and he softballed Eric Larson on, and he softballed him. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a Teladia had to run. But yeah, and that's my thing with this is like, let me put it this way. I've said this before. If I had Jeff Johns on, I'm not going to talk to him about the DCEU.
No.
Or if I had like James Tucker, or like any of the guys associated with that, it's like when I had Sam on and I talked about the Superman Wonder Woman stuff in there because he worked on that. I was like, to me, it just can't. I understand the story reasons why for that, but I think it comes across as a little contrived. Like I'm trying to be as respectful as possible, but also give respectful criticism because you don't have to like say, "Oh, it was so good, it was so awesome." You can give criticism. You just have to be nice about it.
Exactly. That's what I've done. I usually, when I've done it, I would say, "Oh, I enjoyed a lot of it. I had some issues," and then I would then say some of the issues. But then usually they accept it when you're like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, go ahead.
Now, Greg, there might be some creators out there, I'm sure, who could take offense and be like, why aren't you singing my praises? I haven't met them, though. I have not met them. When you're actually one-on-one saying it live, verbally, or on video or whatever, I have not met a creator who has said that. They might do it in tweets.
Well, here's the thing, though. Yeah. If you're the one being respectful and they do that, they look like the a-hole.
Exactly.
That's the advantage. You then have the moral high ground because you're like, I was respectful. I brought up some fair criticisms. Like this way, if you can't take respectful criticism, maybe you're in the wrong career field.
Exactly. And it's like when I had Mark Waid on, I didn't want to ask him about his stance on Superman and the love triangle. I know where he stands. That's how I look at it. It's like, I know where he stands. Why should I ask him? But at the end of my first interview with him, he did, without being specific, but I knew what he was talking about, said, I used to be a real stickler about things. I'm not that guy. I don't have that capability for that kind of anger. I mean, he meant, of course, oh, I don't want to write a Mary Superman. It's like, it's why World's Finest has said in the past, but he's clearly shown he's able to be lenient. He doesn't want to be forced.
It's like,
he doesn't want to be forced to do it.
Or it's like even about the movie Man of Steel. He talked about how, like, I see what they're going for. They actually adapted a lot of my stuff. He still doesn't like the ending of it, but with like the battle in the city, and we can debate that all the live long day. But at least he was like, okay, I've kind of mellowed out about that. It's still not for me, but okay, fine. And I'm like, okay, I can respect that.
And it's like I told you about with the Mike Carlin interview I heard a while ago.
Yeah.
How he said he didn't care for the deaths. And he, of course, he naturally compared it to what they did when they were killed. I think he has a right to do that. And he then eventually said, we did it because we actually wanted to tell that story. And then he openly said, and this is from a guy who's worked with the media, by the time of Man of Steel at DC. He said, I don't think they would want to tell that story. And I'm like,
and
right.
You know what?
I don't
That's
think they
fair
would.
enough. At least I respect him even more now, because he even said, yes, we did it, but we did it for this reason. So you know what?
Well, yeah, he was not being down. He was not bashing it. He just simply said, like, I don't think they want to tell that story. It's not in their interest, to which I'm like, that's the unfortunate thing. And why putting it at the very end of the movie, having him scream, move on. Yes, there's a little bit in BVS, but you could have done a lot more. But that's because they didn't want to.
It's because I had to carry on the story, and I understand that. But at the very least, let me put it this way, and Sam has said this too the first time he came on the show. I asked him about this, and he said, yeah, there are some creative decisions I don't like. Where I object is when straight up creatives like blast other people's creative interpretation on the thing very meanly. Like the Green Arrow, the first Green Arrow artist for Dawn of DC. I actually called him out on Twitter because when it came out that when Snyder's rejected plan of the Greek gods being Kryptonians came out, this guy tweeted, thank F that guy's not with DC anymore. And I was it's extremely, I actually tweeted him and I said, this is extremely unprofessional to phrase it. You don't have to like Zach's ideas or vision, but to straight up phrase it like that, I'm sorry, that is despicable.
I would agree. Now, in my defense, I probably wouldn't have said anything, mostly because I know where I stand on the table. They're not going to. I'm not going to be the one to change their mind. Does that make me a bit of a person to step in? But I applaud you for doing it. Of course, I'm just saying why I wouldn't do it.
No, but and Robert, this is the reason why you and I have a lot of disagreements when it comes to DC with Lois, the Snyderverse. The reason why we're still able to be buds and stuff is because we respect each other enough that I'm not going to go on your show and talk about Lois is a BITTCH. I hate her and all that stuff. I'm going to be like, I don't like the character I don't like the way she's been handled. I will admit there are stories where she is handled well. It's not enough to make me like the character.
The Atomic Skull situation, now that you've actually thought about it.
Now that I've thought about it, I'm like, okay, that's one of those occasions. But my point is, the thing is with comic book fandom, and I understand why people do it. People get extremely overprotective of these characters.
Agreed. And as I said, emphasis on dumb.
Yeah, and I understand what that is, because fandom passion is very important. You and I are passionate about it, but it gets to the point when people, even on my side, when it comes to the Snyderverse stuff, I'll be the first to admit it.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
But when you're done saying that part, even though he's not here, I want to talk about what Teladia mentioned in the chat, because there's something I want to say about that whole thing.
Okay, but my point is like, well, like this way, there are people in the Snyderverse fam that are very toxic. Now, I dispute how many people say they are that are toxic, but like this way, any fandom, you're gonna have toxic people, and it's sad. And I get why one side is toxic. One side gets to this point. Like with the Snyder fandom, it's built upon years of being called not real DC fans just because we like Man of Steel. On the other side,
I know the other side,
and I understand that. And here's the thing: what Sam said, and this is when I gained a lot of respect for him. And he said, a lot of people, to your point, Robert, are just married to the era of DC that they got into comics.
Yes.
And that is 100% valid. That's why I like the new 52 so much, because that was my era of comics.
And for me, it's always been from post-crisis up through before New 52. Now, great, I still enjoy everything afterwards, but for me, I am so devoted to that stuff of Superman because that's what I literally grew up on.
And that's fine. And Robert, so I use the new 52 primarily as a gateway. Then I read a bunch of post-crisis stuff. That's where I dispute like people saying this isn't Superman, this isn't Batman, because I'm like, if you because here's what that does. As long as you get people into the characters in some way, guess what? Then they'll go, okay, so let me read the other stories and see what like and see like the rich history. But anyway, so Robert, you had something you wanted to add about Teladia and stuff?
Well, he said in the private chat about Batman, Bruce Timm meaning Batman and Batgirl. Funny thing is, that was the same pre-crisis because the age gap between she was much closer in age pre-crisis to Bruce.
That's fine, but it's when Bruce Timm tried to force it when they're not in the same age bracket.
Well, yeah, you're right. You are. Although
that's when it's bad. Because if he had Batgirl be like around Bruce's age, I would have zero issues.
I don't think
with
it. I do think she was closer to Dick's age. I don't think the age gap between her and Bruce was that egregious compared to in the comics where it was that egregious.
It's still odd. Let me put it to. I would be less against it. I would be less against it if she was much closer in age to Bruce.
I agree, but I'm just saying. But I don't think she wasn't she college age in the show?
Yeah, but Bruce was like 40, so it still is. And let me put it this way: it's not anything illegal. It's still creepy, in my opinion.
Oh, it is creepy. Oh, and I agree with that. Of course, let's be honest. The worst offender wasn't even Bruce Timm. It was Kyle Higgins.
Yeah, but at the with my thing on that and like that Batman Beyond comic, Bruce Timm could have at least said, "Okay, this is not canon in the universe anymore."
He wasn't involved with that Batman Beyond comic anyway.
No, but as soon as because as far as I know, that Batman Beyond comic is canon to the DCAU, right?
No. That one's up in the air because especially could have continued off of Adam Beechin, and Adam Beechin brought a lot of stuff from the main comic continuity, like Cataclysm and all that. I look at it as a broad stroke universe. I look at it as, it's not exactly one-to-one canon, but again, broad strokes. Now, granted, Beechin did try to set up a lot of things that would have led into epilogue.
But my point is, as soon as Bruce Timm saw the stuff being heaved onto his universe, in other words, people saying, "Oh, that's why Nightwing left before Batman Beyond," he could have come out and said, "It's not canon to my universe."
I don't think he even cares. I don't think he cares.
It followed him throughout his career that he's the one that wants Batman in a lot of BS ship. So eventually, I would get annoyed and go, "It's not canon to my universe. Leave me alone."
Oh, I agree. And especially now, here's the other thing. I think I would also blame him for Brian Azzarello more so.
Yes.
How far he took that scene. Granted, that might have been something he and Bruce talked about because that plays off of what J.M. DeMatteis said. How Bruce, one of the other Craig and DeMatteis would talk it out. I'm pretty sure Brian Azzarello and him talked about it, but then Azzarello took it as far as he did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and with that, it's like when Sam explained like the first half of Killing Joke, I was like, okay, I can kind of see where that's going, because I'm fine with the first like half hour of Killing Joke up until the point they sleep together. Because I'm like, yeah, you could, Barbara having like a crush on her boss, Batman, that's fine. It's Batman indulging in it when I'm like, no, I draw the line there.
It should have been a dream.
Should have been a dream. There you go. That would have worked. And then you could have literally avoided all that stuff. But the very fact that it happened in that movie, and I'm like, no.
And if you want to keep the sexiest though, here's what I think. They should have had it been Barbara's dreaming, thinking it while she's seeing Bruce and Selina do it. And then she imagines herself in Selina's place.
That would have been better. But the very fact that Batman indulges is where I'm like, no. I don't know.
By the way, you would really hate what else happened in that Batman Beyond comic.
What else?
You know what happened to you know what happened to Wonder Woman?
Yes, I do. I know. Yeah. Is that the one where she travels to the other universe because she wants to?
Yeah.
So, as the way I understand it is that Earth Prime Batman rejects her, so she goes to the Justice Lord's universe, marries Lord Batman.
No, not exactly. Not exactly.
Okay, explain it.
It wasn't Lord Batman she married.
Oh yeah, it was Lord Superman, but I think
basically she killed her counterpart. Thus, the lasso dissipated because she took a life cruelly, just like that. And she felt she did something wrong, so she chose to go there, fill the void, to prevent the Lords from declaring war on the Prime Universe. So basically, she went there to fill the void that she took, she emptied.
Why did she kill Lord Wonder Woman though?
I forget the reason why exactly, but it wasn't for good reasons at all.
Well, it's another scenario in which DC disrespects Wonder Woman.
I think it was a moment of an emotional reaction.
Oh God!
And she used the lasso to snap her neck.
Oh God, that is just stupid.
Oh, I hated it. I read through that. I hated it.
Yep, see, it's a lot of times when like DC does stuff with Wonder Woman where I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly. But I agree completely. Although I know why. They wanted to explain why she wasn't there in the future, just like they explained why Superman had been active for so long was because he had Starro on him.
Why is it that every time they try to explain why these characters are not in the future, they end up screwing up those characters? Like, the reason why Nightwing's not in the future is because he's pissed off at Batman for sleeping with Barbara. This Wonder Woman, because she's in the other universe because she killed out of anger Lord Wonder Woman. I'm like, stop!
Now, to be fair, Higgins did not write the Wonder Woman one.
No, but still, it's like a common thread with these future issues. I'm like, stop!
I agree. I agree. And
at a certain point, just say they retire. Or here's with Wonder Woman. Here's the perfect explanation for Wonder Woman. She went back to her island.
Yeah. Now I would say this. They also had Terry keep going to the Justice Lord universe, getting hung up on, because he kept on getting to hang out with his dad, who's still alive there.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
And also they brought, because Kyle Higgins preferred him with Ace. No, not Ace. 10.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, from the Royal Flush Gang. He decided, he and Dana just broke up for some reasons because I want to write this. I write him was 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, really?
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why. There's a reason why I'm never reading. There's a reason why I'm never covering those comics.
I'll say the Beecham era you should read. That one was actually pretty decent.
I'll check that out
because most of that run was the first couple of issues of was that initial miniseries, the ongoing that didn't last long, and then the 1.0 version of it, which mostly told the Night of 1,000 Jokers.
I see. That's a good one, but I think that's a good place to leave it. Leave it on a real downer. But Robert, tell the audience where they can find you and what have you got coming out on your channel, man.
They can come to my YouTube channel. I don't have any episodes in the can at the moment, so I'm trying to do that. Hopefully, I want to keep consistency, especially now that I'm monetized.
Mm-hmm.
But they can come to my YouTube channel, support me if they can. If not, just come and watch. Any bit helps. Exactly.
And tonight we are doing Comically Dark, and we'll be talking about the news of the week. Tomorrow I'm doing a watch through of Rebel Moon, and Britt and I will be recording Super Wonder, where we're going to talk about if we made Wonder Woman 3 the actual conclusion to the DC EU, how would we do that? But anyway.
Can I ask one thing about that?
Sure.
You guys aren't going to try and fit in her and Superman, are you?
I can neither confirm nor deny. Probably not, because based upon the storyline that Brits sent me that we're using and we covered, they were not together in the storyline that we're using.
Okay. Hey, I'm just curious. I thought I'd ask.
We each have our own stories. Mine probably, but there's a lot of different ways we can do this. It's like, we're I'm going to give you guys a preview. Mine is if the Snyderverse was actually concluded at this point and this was the last movie. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stay heroic, everyone. And I can already tell Robert is clenching up as I say this. Lois Lane is Lois Lame. She belongs to General Zod. Zois and Max are bad for life. I'll see you later.